Today we're going to look at the TM-22 by Derya. We took the little spacer thing out last time, but now there's only one mounting bolt on the handguard that holds it on underneath the scope base kind of thing here. So there's a ton of wiggle room. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. So my plan is maybe drill and tap a couple holes here and put set screws that kind of hold it. So I'll recess the set screws into the big barrel nut and then tighten them through the aluminum handguard. Hopefully that holds it laterally stiff. I don't think it really matters because the barrel's free floated anyways, but it just feels a little sloppy when there's wiggle room kind of thing. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna tighten this baby up and then we're gonna go out to the range and test it out. See what kind of groups we can get at 50 yards. So we'll start by removing the scope. I'm gonna see if I can just undo these two mounts, pull the pin out, and then if I can slide the scope right off without taking everything out of the ring, so that would be ideal. But let's see what we can do. Take those out. Now see if we can slide this off. That would be perfect if we could do that. Obviously the cap's going to get in the way. Oh, mint. Awesome. Okay, so the scope's off. Now if you look at the top here, there's one Allen bolt fastening this rail down to the handguard. That's the only thing holding it on. So I'm just going to check it out first to make sure what we're working with underneath, and then we'll go from there. Okay, with that out now, the handguard should just slide right off. Okay. So, yeah, this barrel nut's pretty solid. So I want to make sure and see where this is going to line up. Okay. Might have to move it forward a bit compared to that. So, let's get these out. Measurement here from the back to dead center in the barrel nut. So I kind of want my hole somewhere in that area there, in the center where there's a lot of meat. And then I'll go from the back of this handguard here to there. So that's where our hole is going to be. I'll do that on both sides. Okay, I'm glad I looked, because you can see this, there's like a little groove in the barrel nut, and I don't want to hit anything around there, but there's a lot of meat in there, so I might even remove the barrel nut to do this drilling, so that might work even better. I'll have to index it, mark it, so the holes all line up and the handguard goes on straight again. So I have this mechanical punch here. We're just going to punch a little thing in it just to make sure we know where we're starting to drill. So one on that side, on that side. So now we have somewhere to start our drill bit, so we're not walking all over the place. I'm probably going to drill it off camera just so I can make sure I have it dead straight nuts, straight up and down, and just want to make sure I'm concentrating more on this than looking at you guys. Looking good, guys. So I got the holes pre-drilled through the handguard and through the barrel nut, and Derya sends this nut wrench and castle nut wrench so you can do all your own gunsmithing, barrel changes and cleaning and stuff at home without any special tools. So this is included with the rifle. So we're going to take this handguard off again, take the barrel nut off, and then we have to tap the barrel nut and drill the handguard a little bit more, and then countersink so these heads fit flush. Now we'll remove the handguard and then the barrel nut. So the holes in the handguard are going to be enlarged a little bit and countersunk to fit these heads. And I'll just see how much room we have. Should be fine with that size bolt. If not, I can just trim them down on the grinder a little bit, clean them up. So here we can see the barrel nut has been drilled, and we're just going to remove it now and go from there. So I don't know how tight this is torqued. Actually, I'm going to mark it so it goes back in the same spot next time. I'm done here retightening it. So what I ended up doing was I put the barrel nut wrench on there and I just tapped it a few times with the back of a screwdriver. It broke it loose. So now I'm going to spin this nut off and the barrel should come off. Maybe I'll just leave the barrel because it's in there pretty good and it's already set and in its place. I'll just clean everything up. I'll take this flash hider off, slide the barrel nut off, and then we'll tap it. Next step is tapping the barrel nut. It's just aluminum, so it shouldn't be too hard. Too hard to tap, that is. And let's run the tap down. Make sure everything's clean. That feels good. Then after, we'll have to make sure we clean the barrel nut up really good because there's a lot of little shavings now in there. So we'll repeat the process on the other side. Don't tell my wife I'm doing this in the dining room. Take the vacuum out after, clean up all the evidence. Both holes are tapped. All we gotta do now is clean up the parts, drill the handguard a little bit bigger, and then countersink those heads. Alright. So as you can see now, the holes are drilled and tapped. So now that we have the handguard drilled countersunk, I used a countersinking bit on a drill just to bring it down a bit. So hopefully the heads fit a little flusher, just like that. And we should have no issues. So now let's reassemble the rifle. So now we reassemble the barrel nut. And then we'll torque it till the witness marks I put on the receiver and the barrel nut line up. So it's going to need a few little taps. There. When my witness marks line up, that means the holes I drilled should be lining up as well. Well, let's see what we can do here without messing up the muzzle too much. Looks good. So let's get this screw in first. That's the original handguard screw. Just gonna snug it. I don't think we're gonna go too tight on that one. All right. So we did 30 inch-pounds. That's probably overkill for that since it's into aluminum. We might have to trim these up because they might be a little bit long. I just want to see when it bottoms out. Okay, so we're gonna have to take a millimeter or two off. So I'm gonna go dress these screws up, take a little bit off of them, and then we'll come back and we'll put it back together and we'll see if it made a big difference or not. Let's put our screws in. Put a little more torque than and 30. I'll put 40 on it. It isn't too aluminum, so I'm gonna kind of watch, but yeah, 40 was all right. Now let's do the other side. Sorry you guys can't see this, but I'm sure you know how to put a screw in a hole and screw it down. So that's what we're doing. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. This one doesn't seem like, maybe it does. Oh yeah, that's so much better now. Yeah, it's solid. Now the forend is completely solid with these two little screws here. So they fit flush. Awesome, turned out pretty good. Now all we have to do is reassemble the rifle and test it out. So we'll start by putting the muzzle device on. Let's roll that on. And this one, doesn't really have to be clocked, so I just go to the end and I grab the screwdriver that fits through and I snug it. And that's it. As for the scope, hopefully we can just reverse what we did on the first time, take it off, just see if it'll slide back on. I can't remember the slots we had it in now, but I guess I can just set up my eye relief and then we'll go from there. So it looks like it was in the forwardmost spot on the front, which makes sense. I probably did that so I remember. These, I'll set the 30 inch-pounds, or steel rings. But before we do that, make sure the scope's fully seated forward in the Picatinny rail. I always do two-step of retorquing. I did 20 the first and then 30 on the second pass. So now all we have to do is go test it out and see how it works. It feels so much more solid now. All you got is barrel wiggle now, so that's cool. Let's go test it out. All right, so we have the Derya TM-22 forend nice and tight. We got a target at 50 yards. We're gonna be shooting Norma TAC-22. Let's just see what we can do. Wind's coming from right to the left today, so a little bit different than usual, but let's see what we can do. Okay, so now we have the barrel free floated with that little ring thing taken out. You could watch that on Utreon. Go check out Brotuned on Utreon. If you're watching this on YouTube, the work I did to do this will be on Utreon, but I'll make a different video not showing this dangerous gun smithing stuff. And we'll just do the shooting on YouTube. The rest of the work is on Utreon if you want to see the full-length video. So we have 20 round mag here. We have 40 shots total today of Norma TAC-22. We're going to see how this thing shoots at 50 yards. So the first, I guess we'll just do 2 5-shot groups maybe, just to get our zero dialed perfectly. I'll go from there. So I'm shooting on 10 power here. Got gloves on because it's kind of cold. Top left target. So that's low, and left. So I'm just gonna shoot 5 more. Same hold. All right, not looking too bad, but we have to go up a half. I'll have to go left a half. And I'll shoot the next 5 the same target. Overcompensated. Okay, as you can tell, the sun's hot, all the steam coming off the deck here. But okay, so our first 5-shot group, we'll go to the bottom left target, top left corner for 5. All right, it's looking not too bad. Top right edge for 5. All right. Still fresh, so now we'll go bottom right. Here we go for 5. Bottom left corner. So it definitely wants to group. It's just, they're not that bad though. Probably about a minute for 5 shots out of a semi-auto. Basically, it's not too bad. I'm gonna come right 1/10. The wind is coming from the right to the left. Okay, we'll go for dead center for 5. All right, that's a nice group there. So it's starting to come in. The last group, I'll go up to the top target again, but the bottom right edge for 5. one dropped low. So there we have it. That's how it shoots. I didn't do any velocities, but we have it right there. That's what this thing can do. 50 yards with Normattack 22. It might not be the best ammo for this, but it's one of the ones that work not too bad in the CZ457. So I figured I'd try it in this thing. Another thing to notice on this scope here, I have my parallax set at 50 yards. It's set at between 300 and infinity. That's why you never trust what it says on here, because at 50 yard parallax, it was, if I move my eye at the target, like, yeah, basically, parallax was not set at how it is. So the parallax knob was not correct. But it is what it is. And there you have it. So I guess the next step for this rifle would be finding an ammo that it really, really likes. But I'm not going to complain about the TAC-22 in it for the price and the performance I've seen downrange so far. It's a nice shooting rifle. Only problem, there's tons of creep on this trigger, and the reset's huge. So I think the over travel's not the greatest as well. But stock trigger, it's like I said, it's not bad. It's not that heavy. I don't know the exact weight. I haven't tested that yet, but we can get there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.